Good morning, friends. I always remember God's love story in the book of Isaiah. And every time I read the book of Isaiah, I am just in awe. You see, God is reaching out to his unfaithful wife in the book of Isaiah. He says to Israel, you know what? When you were a child, when you were still a child in Egypt, you walk in the streets of the city, you were sniffing, you were smoking, you were drinking, you were very disobedient to your parents, you rebelled against them, you rebelled against the church, and most of all, you hated me. But I still love you so much. And yet somehow the more I reach out to you, the farther you go away from me, or the farther you remove yourself from me. Does this sound familiar? And God said, yet I hold you in my loving arms and led you with the cords of human kindness. I lifted your weight from your shoulders. I bent down to feed you. It's in the book of Hosea 11 alone. As we continue to study the topic of forgiveness, I encourage you. Just this text, Colossians 3 verses 13 and 14. Pray hard that you will really understand the text. It says, bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you have grievances against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave. And over all these virtues, put love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Dear friends, choosing to forgive or not to forgive is always a choice. See, life is defined by the choices we make, not the circumstances that we are dealing with. Most people believe that they are a product of circumstances. They grew up in a terrible home, their parents were abusive. But you see, friends, it is always a choice. Most people define their situation by the circumstances they had to deal with. And yet the truth is, it is not the circumstances that defines us. It is a choice. Remember, the statement says, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? It would have been easy for Jesus to say that my circumstances gives me a disadvantage to become a great religious leader. It's the choice that we make that determines who we become. And the only thing in order for us to move forward is to stop the process and choose forgiveness. We can say, you know what? I'm choosing God to define my life. That's why I'm going to choose forgiveness and let go. Let us also remember that we need to understand the people and the circumstances that they are currently in. Ellen G. White wrote, you will often meet with souls that are under distress of temptation. You know not how severely Satan may be wrestling with them. Beware lest you discourage such soul, and thus give the tempter an advantage. Whenever you see or hear something that needs to be corrected, seek the Lord. Seek the Lord for wisdom and grace, that in trying to be faithful, you may not be severe. It is always humiliating to have one's errors pointed out. Do not make that experience more bitter by needless censure. Unkind criticism brings discouragement, making life sunless and unhappy. My brethren, prevail by love rather than by severity. When one at fault becomes conscious of his error, be careful not to destroy his or her self-respect. Do not seek to bruise and wound, but rather to bind up and heal. My question for you to ponder this morning is, can we find peace with ourselves if we are surrounded by people that we cannot forgive or will not forgive? The reality of life, friends, is we are all going to be wronged, hurt, or abused sometime in our life. It's not fair. That's why this world is not our home. This is just a very wicked and sinful world. The great thing is that God reminds us in Colossians 3 verses 13 and 14 to bear with each other and forgive one another. And if anyone has grievances against you, forgive as the Lord forgave. And over all the virtues, put on love. Friends, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Ephesians 4 verse 32 says, and be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. My appeal for you this morning, friends, I know there will be scars that will remain with us for life. But they're only a reminder of our journey. A reminder that we have been there and that we have left them behind. They must not be allowed to mar our lives as we begin a new day, a new beginning. Friends, love will always help us to move forward beyond what happened yesterday. It is my humble prayer, friends, that we will be able to let go of the past hurt. Let God control our lives. Let God take control of it, and all we need to do is commit everything and just give it away. Total surrender. Total surrender. Friends, it is hard, it is tough, but with God's help, everything's possible. This is my prayer for today, and have a great day ahead. God bless you.